Namaskar, Adab or Sat Sri Akal to all the viewers who have joined us virtually today to celebrate the 72nd Constitution Day of India. On behalf of the Consulate General of India in Birmingham, I, Kavita Mohan, extend a very warm and cordial welcome to you all. Constitution Day, also known as Samvidhan Divas, is celebrated on November 26th every year to commemorate the adoption of the Constitution of India. The Constitution of India is the longest written constitution of any sovereign country in the world. We celebrate this day to create the awareness of fundamental duties, among others, as enshrined in the Constitution. Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, a renowned social reformer, politician, and jurist, is sometimes called the father of the Indian Constitution. He was appointed as the chairman of the Constitution Drafting Committee on August 29, 1947. To begin with, may I request Honorable Consul General Dr. Shashank Vikram to kindly address us all. Dr. Shashank Vikram, Consul General at Consulate General of India in Birmingham, is a diplomat from the 2004 batch of Indian Foreign Service and is a medical graduate. Before assuming the charge of Consul General in Birmingham earlier this year, Dr. Vikram has served in various capacities in Government of India, in Indian embassies abroad, and in the state government of Uttar Pradesh in India. Dr. Vikram has worked in Embassy of India, Lisbon, Embassy of India, Brasilia, and also as Consul General of India, Durban, South Africa. Without any further delay, I would like to invite Consul General for the opening remarks.
Namaskar. It's my honor to extend a warm welcome on the celebration of Constitution Day of India, also known as Samvidhan Divas. We celebrate the Constitution Day every year to commemorate the adoption of the Constitution of India on 26 November 1949 by the Constituent Assembly. The Constitution, which was adopted by the Constituent Assembly, it came into effect on 26 January 1950 and is the foundational law which lays the basic political structure of our country. It embodies the vision and values of our founding fathers. It reflects the hopes and aspirations of the people of India. Through the Constitution, the people of India resolved to constitute India into a sovereign, socialist, secular, and democratic republic, and to secure justice, liberty, and equality for all its citizens. Today in India, we speak different languages, we have different faiths, we eat different foods, we wear different clothes, but there is a feeling of oneness and common consciousness that keeps us together, makes us proud of our Indian nation. The Indian Constitution is the lengthiest and the most detailed constitution in the world. However, in simple words, as our Prime Minister, Shri Narendra Modi summarized, it embodies two fundamental principles: dignity for Indians and unity for India. The Constitution is a living document. Chairman of the Drafting Committee and Principal Architect of the Constitution, Dr. Bhim Rao Ambedkar, said, and I quote, "Constitution is not a lawyer's document, it is a vehicle of life and its spirit is always the spirit of age." Unquote. Constitution Day is an occasion for celebration of 1.3 billion Indian definitely, but it is also an occasion for celebration for the humanity when 1/6 of its population celebrates the anniversary of its constitution, which guarantees justice, social, economical, and political, liberty of thought, expression, belief, faith, and worship, equality of status and of opportunity, and to promote among them all fraternity, assuring the dignity of the individual. November 26th is an happy occasion as India celebrates the Constitution Day, but it is also a sad reminder of Mumbai terror attacks, which had taken place on this day in 2008. I also take this moment to express my heartfelt tribute for around 166 victims of the Mumbai terror attack, which included people of different nationalities, including British. I now look forward to hear Mr. Upasakji, Head Nirankari Mission and Chairman, Sandwell Confederation of Indians, and Mr. Paul Cadman, Regional Business Leader and Visiting Professor of Internship, Birmingham City University, on their thoughts on the Constitution Day. With these words, thank you so much. Namaskar.
Thank you very much, sir. Today we have the virtual presence of Professor Paul Cadman, a national and international award-winning Chief Executive Officer, to share his views on this occasion. Professor Paul has demonstrated success working in tech, manufacturing, retail, consultancy, media, and membership organizations. Without any further delay, I very humbly invite Professor Paul Cadman.
Hello, I'm Professor Paul Cadman. I've been invited here today to talk about the Constitution Day. Just want to say it's an honour and a privilege to be involved in this. 26th of November. It's a very special day to every Indian, but actually it's an inspirational, interesting day for many people outside of India. Just want to talk to you about the Constitution of India. The Constitution of India is more than a set of articles and schedules. It does more than merely establish institutions for the governance of India. Instead, scholars call the Indian Constitution a transformative constitution. Its provisions are not just concerned with Indian government as is, but it's more of the fulfilment of social and economic justice for all Indian citizens. Let me explain why the Constitution is so significant, both to me and, more importantly, to the Indian people. As is well known, India faced extraordinary challenges at independence, including ensuring the safety and well-being of millions of displaced by partition. Amid violence and uncertainty, the Constitution Assembly convened to draft a constitution suited to a nation of exceptional diversity, divided by language, race, caste, class. In facing the challenges, members of the Constitution Assembly drew encouragement and inspiration from the experiences of other nations, including the UK, the US, Canada, Ireland, and even Australia. They looked far and wide, both to other nations. What have they done well? What have they done not so well? What could they learn? What could they take away from? They created a hybrid document. There were different schools of thought. A document suited to Indian conditions and Indian challenges clearly was different to all the documents drawn up through history for different nations. More than merely reflecting the nation in which they lived, the framers of the Indian Constitution sought to create a document that would address and combat inadequacies and injustice in Indian society. A document that would stand the test of time. Against a backdrop of intolerance and communal divisions, the Indian Constitution prohibits the discrimination by the state on the basis of religion, caste, sex or place of birth, and guarantees freedom of religion. The Indian Constitution is not flawless and has not been beyond controversy. It's an ever-evolving document. There's been hundreds of amendments. It's a continual document. You know, success and utopia is a journey and not really a destination. The reason I'm here today is to celebrate the extraordinary achievements of the 71 years since the Constitution was promulgated. Indians have strived to ensure that the promises and guarantees of the Constitution are reflected in practice. Where appropriate, the courts have worked in collaboration with the Indian government to ensure that the promises of the Constitution are upheld. Where necessary, they have struck down laws, policies and even amendments to the Constitution itself in order to uphold the basic framework. The courts have not acted alone in defence of the Constitution. Indians from all walks of life have stood up to claim the rights bestowed upon them by the Constitution. They have constantly pushed to make the nation fairer, more responsive and more democratic. It is important to remember that the Constitution does not belong to the lawyers or politicians of India. Its interpretation has been shaped and transformed by cases brought by activists, NGOs, by religious leaders and by atheists, by prisoners and by aristocrats. Indians from every background have claimed protection under the Constitution, something that would have been impossible without a rare shared public faith in the Constitution's potential and in its goals which it stands for. The Constituent Assembly that enacted the Constitution consists of men and women, Muslims, Christians, Hindus, Sikhs and non-believers drawn from different races, different languages, groups, different cultures, different castes. Some delegates were leftists, others were conservatives. Left, like India itself, the Constitution does not belong to any single religion, any single language or any single point of view. No one group can claim monopoly over its meaning. It belongs and will always belong to India. This is what I find so inspiring about the Indian Constitution, why I feel that this document was created way ahead of its time and will probably change the world's mindset towards equality first, equality, diversity and inclusion. Why I'm so glad to be here today to celebrate the Constitution, because its openness to defiance and diversity, its acceptance and of employment of intellectual traditions and lessons from around the world, its commitment to the social welfare and uplift even in its size. It's a massive document, but however doesn't that reflect the size of India itself, a massive document for a massive country. It's been an absolute pleasure today to share my views. Want to wish you happy Constitution Day. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir, for sharing your thoughtful views. As we move forward, our next speaker is Mr. H.S. Bhatia, fondly known as Upasak Ji. Upasak Ji is the head of Nirankari Mission, chairman of Sandwell Confederation of Indians, and also the founder and chairman of Sandwell Multi-Faith Network. Upasak Ji has just been awarded an MBE for being a Sandwell volunteer during the coronavirus pandemic. I humbly welcome Upasak Ji.
Dear brothers and sisters, we are all very much privileged to be part of the celebration of Constitution of India. Constitution of India is a document which to every Indian is very sacred, because it protects rights of minorities. It protects the different language diversity. It protects diversity of cultures, and it protects minorities within minorities. Not only protect, it guarantees the uplifting of disadvantaged community. Brothers and sisters, it took 166 days. In 2 years, 11 months and 18 days. to draft it. And brothers and sisters, it was adopted on 26th of November 1949 in Constituent Assembly. And day before it was adoption on 25th of November 1949. The father of Constitution, highly regarded Baba Sahib Ambedkar ji, he warned everybody. He said, you must not practice non-cooperation, you must not practice satyagraha, etc. in democracy. We must abandon it. And he also warned that we must practice equality. If we don't practice equality, we will be endangering the democracy. And he also warned us, religion, faith, bhakti may be path to salvation, but it should not interfere the politics in democracy. So brothers and sisters, once again, I congratulate you to be part of the celebration. The document of Constitution is the largest in the world, and we all Indians regard it as very sacred. So be part of it. Again, I congratulate you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Upasak ji. As we proceed with today's event, we have a short video which will be played now on the screen.
On this day, the 26th of January, 1950, the people of our country, through their accredited representatives, have redeemed a solemn pledge. A pledge made some 20 years ago in distant Lahore. A pledge which brings into being a new nation but with an ancient heritage. A republic that once again takes its rightful place among the freedom-loving countries of the world.
We, the people of India, having solemnly resolved to constitute India into a sovereign democratic republic and to secure to all its citizens justice, social, economic, and political, liberty of thought, expression, belief, faith, and worship, equality of status and of opportunity, and to promote among them all fraternity, assuring the dignity of the individual and the unity of the nation. In our Constituent Assembly, do hereby adopt, enact, and give to ourselves this Constitution.
But to the common man of India, that is you, and you, and you, and you. What exactly do these words signify? They mean that henceforth, each one of us will have the fundamental rights of equality before the law, equality of opportunity in matters of public appointment, abolition of untouchability, the rights to freedom of speech and expression, protection of life and personal liberty, prohibition of traffic in human beings and forced labor, freedom of religion, protection of minorities, and many other safeguards. These safeguards, which are the very bulwarks of democracy, have been guaranteed to us in the written Constitution. The drafting of our new Constitution has been no easy task. And before its first word was put on paper, the notable constitutions of other countries were first consulted. These constitutions can be classified under two categories, the unitary and the federal. Our Constitution is in large measure of the federal type, and the federating units are many and varied. They consist of 1. states formerly known as provinces. 2. The newly created unions of states and the old states of Hyderabad, Mysore and Kashmir. 3. The Chief Commissioner's provinces. Each one of us living within a state, regardless of occupation or sex, has the right of sending representatives to the State Assembly as well as to the Central Legislature. If then 75,000 of us of any state get together, and provided we are over 21, we have the right of collectively electing one representative to the State Assembly. According to the present divisions of the country, there will be a maximum of 500 and a minimum of 60 representatives in each of the state assemblies. Now, the procedure of electing a representative to the Central Legislature is slightly different. More of us have to get together. In fact, 10 times as many. And between us we send one representative to the Central Legislature. Here also, there are no class or sex restrictions, but we must be over the age of 21 to have the power to vote. There will be about 500 members elected, and they will form the House of the People. 205 members will be elected from the state assemblies. These two houses, along with the President, will be called the Parliament. Parliament on the one hand and state assemblies on the other will combine to elect the President. The Vice President will be elected by vote of Parliament alone, and he will be the ex officio chairman of the Council of States. Immediately upon his election, the President will call upon the leader of the majority party in the House of the People to accept the office of Prime Minister. The Prime Minister will then choose his cabinet from among his colleagues. The President will select 12 persons who are acknowledged leaders in their respective spheres, such as in the arts, science, agriculture, and so on, and nominate them to the Council of States. The President will also nominate the state governors, but the governors will be purely constitutional heads, for the real business of conducting the states will be carried on by the Premier and his cabinet. Like the centre, the state legislature in the 6 major states of Bihar, Bombay, Madras, Punjab, the United Provinces and West Bengal will consist of 2 houses. The other states will have 1 house only. The state legislature must meet twice a year at intervals of not more than 6 months, and it can legislate on 66 different matters. The most important of them are law and order, health, agriculture, fisheries, education, entertainment. The central government, on the other hand, can legislate on 97 different items, the most important of which are defense, foreign affairs, communications, posts and telegraphs, finance including currency, trade and commerce, mines and power. But there is always danger of abuse of power by the executive, and therefore every constitution provides for safeguards. Our Constitution has provided 4 safeguards. First, the judiciary, consisting of the Supreme Court and the various high courts. These will safeguard the fundamental rights of the citizen by just and proper interpretation of the law. Second, by a Controller and Auditor General, who will see to it that the funds of the Union are wisely utilized. Third, the Union Public Service Commission, which will be in charge of recruitment to the services required by the country. And fourth, the Election Commissioner, who will be responsible for fair and impartial elections and who will be free from any executive interference. The President of the Union, as head of the state, will have vested in him all executive powers, including command of the armed forces. That is, the Army, the Navy, and the Air Force. Moreover, he can summon or prorogue Parliament. He can grant pardons, promulgate ordinances, and so forth. But in spite of these powers, the President will act only on the advice of the Prime Minister and his Cabinet. And in case of malpractices, the President can be impeached. Thus, he is a constitutional President, a head of a state, similar to the King of England. But unlike the King, the status of President of the Indian Union is not determined by one of aristocratic birth, for he can be from among the humblest in the land. His only qualification for the post is that he has the confidence of the people of the Indian Union. Our Constitution, as we have seen, falls under three heads. There is the legislature to enact laws. There is the executive to carry them out. And the independent judiciary to see that the laws are properly and correctly interpreted. Our Constitution, therefore, to bring this about, lays down certain directive principles. And some of them are, 1, that the citizens, men and women equally, have the right to an adequate means of livelihood. 2, that the ownership and control of the material resources of the community are so distributed as best to subserve the common good. 3, and that children of tender age are not abused, and that they are not forced by economic necessity to enter avocations unsuited to their years or strength. 4, that the state shall endeavor to provide for free and compulsory education for all children. 5, the state shall, within the limits of its economic capacity, make effective provision for securing the right to work in cases of unemployment, old age, and sickness. 6, the state shall take steps to organize village panchayats. 7, the state shall endeavor its agriculture and animal husbandry on modern scientific lines. 8, the state shall endeavor to promote international peace and security and maintain just and honorable relations between nations. It can be truly said of our democratic republic that it has a single citizenship, that of the Union, a single state language, that of Hindi in the Devanagari script, although full scope will be given to the various regional languages, and a single pattern of administration, the parliamentary system, established on the foundations of adult franchise. When we consider, then, that our franchise involves a vote 6 times the number that we had before independence, a number that is nearly equal to the total population of the Soviet Union, a number that exceeds by 30 millions the population of the entire United States of America, we can begin to comprehend and appreciate the vastness of our democracy and the glorious legacy that is ours. A legacy that requires each one of us to do his utmost in making our Constitution become a living reality. Jai Hind.
Mr. Hitesh Saxena, who holds an honours degree in physics, joined Consulate General of India, Birmingham as Consul and Head of Chancery earlier in January this year. I now invite the Head of Chancery, Mr. Saxena, for a vote of thanks.
Namaste. The Constitution declares India a sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic republic, assuring its citizens justice, equality, and liberty, and endeavors to promote fraternity. The Indian Constitution stood the test of time as India has been a very successful democracy. We are indeed indebted to our forefathers who gave us this valuable document. We have now come to the end of this virtual celebration of the 72nd Constitution Day. On behalf of the Consulate General of India, Birmingham, I extend my heartfelt gratitude to Professor Paul Cadman and Shri Harminder Singh Bhatia, who have taken valuable time out of their hectic schedule to give us their messages. We hope you like our program. As always, we would like to hear from your comments. You may write to us on events.birmingham@mea.gov.in. Jai Hind.